Welcome back to Extra Shot, the weekly pod spilling the funniest stories in sport. My name is Jack Rivlin. Zach is with me as ever.
Hello.
Hello, mate. On the pod today, pole vaulters doing porn, Neil Lennon's got his knob out in Bucharest, and the E. coli epidemic finally strikes. Sorry, I just saw Zach wince as I said knob out in Bucharest.
Sounds like your weekend in Poland.
Didn't have my knob out. No, I actually had a naked swim in Poland.
Okay.
Yeah, which is considered fine.
How was it? How was
It was lovely. Yeah, last year I caught trench foot at this festival, so it was nice to come away without, any Edwardian illnesses. No rickets, no scurvy.
Did you spot Davina McCall this year?
I did see Davina, yeah. Saw her in the flesh.
Really?
Yeah, last year it was just a rumour. This year I was dancing near her, not bothering her.
No,
staying well out of her space.
Speak.
No, I didn't say hi, but she looked great.
Yeah.
Yeah. And people who spoke to her said she was lovely.
Yeah, I bet she is. She has that vibe.
Yeah, she seems lovely. Actually, speaking of Edwardian diseases from dirty water, the unthinkable has happened, Zach. The turd-riddled water of the Seine has poisoned several athletes.
I saw this. Some of them have actually been hospitalised with E. coli, right?
Yeah. So obviously we've been talking about this all summer, the fact that the triathlon and the open water marathon is happening in the Seine, which is famously filthy, and they've been spending €1 billion cleaning it, and everyone thinks it won't be clean. Anyway, so they'd already held the men's and women's events, and then it was the mixed relay triathlon. And ahead of it, Belgium had to withdraw their team because their women's star, Claire Michel, was carted off to hospital with a severe E. coli infection. She'd already done the women's event in the Seine.
Yeah, she did it last week, right? And this was a matter of time.
I mean, we've been joking about it, and obviously a serious E. coli infection is no laughing matter. Like, it can kill you. But we've sort of been joking like it will happen. And yeah, here we are. She wasn't even the only one.
Yeah, there were 2 Swiss athletes, I think, had to pull out as well.
Yeah, they said Adrien Briffel, he was in the men's event, he came 49th. He's subsequently fallen seriously ill, which, I mean, what was everyone expecting?
But they're still going ahead with more races.
Yeah, well, so they held the mixed relay one, and
it does make you slightly lose faith in their water quality tests that they're doing pre-race.
Yeah, has anyone checked on the mayor, Anne Hidalgo, to see how she's faring? She's been quite quiet and absent, and I think the incubation period has passed now. It's been a couple of weeks.
I think Emmanuel Macron is still watching closely. Because he still hasn't done it, has he?
He still hasn't got it.
He's going nowhere near it now.
Yeah, I mean, now he can just turn around and be like, I'm not going in there, it's got E. coli, which was kind of everyone's point. But have they had the open water swim in it? I don't think they have.
So I think they've now cancelled the sort of warm-up training swim for the open water swimming. They're still saying that they're going to go ahead with the race, but who knows?
Well, they're just trying to...
If there's anyone left to compete in it.
They're just trying to absolutely minimise the time they all spend in the water.
I guess, yeah.
And we've cut the race to 100 metres and don't put your head underwater, please. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. They'll all be having vaccinations at the start line.
Yeah. Also, they don't even have, before the triathlon, they postponed it because it had rained loads. So they were like, that's caused overflow. But it's now been really sunny. So what's the excuse this time?
Yeah, I saw a quote from the athletes that they were saying they were all sitting around at the hotel just like looking outside. It's like, shit, it's raining again.
I'll tell you who hasn't fallen ill is Seth Ryder, the guy who's exposing himself to E. coli on purpose.
Yeah.
So a little tip for future. Do you see Novak Djokovic won gold?
I did, nice. Yeah.
Sobbing.
Yeah, he was really emotional about it. It
was kind of the one missing thing in his trophy collection. And also, he's very patriotic. It's a big deal doing it for your country. Mm-hmm. Did you see him celebrating as well, getting on the booze?
Yeah, I saw that. He was swigging some champagne.
It's nice because Djokovic kind of has a my body is my temple sort of attitude. He's quite solemn about what he puts in his body.
Yeah.
It's quite nice to see him cutting loose.
I actually, so that's what I thought as well. And then I had a little Google and I found a quote from him. He said, "Occasionally I have a glass of red wine. I don't consider it an alcoholic drink. I consider it a holy drink. Something that could be used as a curative."
Oh, right. So even that he's kind of solemn about.
Yeah, actually, he does also have a red wine company,
Oh, right,
apparently.
conveniently.
Yeah.
Guys, don't worry, this isn't alcoholic. It's a sacrament. It's just blood of Christ.
It's a holy drink.
Get your case of blood of Christ.
Yeah.
But I actually think he is a bit of he has a party streak, because during COVID, do you remember he organised that highly controversial Adria tour where they were just playing and partying despite the rest of the world being in lockdown? And then there was a video of him like having it in a club, topless, definitely on the booze. And they were dancing to that Black Eyed Peas song, "A Little Party Never Killed Nobody," which felt a bit ironic during COVID, because that was sort of the premise of lockdown, was a little party can kill somebody.
And loads of them came down with COVID afterwards, didn't
they? They did. While we're talking gold medal winners, a favourite of mine, Dutch runner Femke Schippers. She was in the Dutch mixed relay team who won the 400 metre edition. Some listeners may remember her last year. She set the world indoor 400 metre record and then gave an interview in which she sounded exactly like Mickey Mouse.
When you're putting your mind to it, you know exactly what to do indoors. How was that for you?
Oh, it was amazing. I mean, it was such a strong race. We were all running so fast, multiple running in the 50, so I knew I had to go out fast. I had Lieke in front of me, so I wanted to be in front, and I could hear halfway she was behind me, so I was like, okay, this is good, now we keep going, and this crowd is so amazing.
Sounds like she's had a helium balloon.
Yeah. But I haven't been able to find an interview from her post-relay this week to know if it's like, is it a normal thing, or was she just like very out of breath?
An altitude thing.
Yeah,
Wherever they did
it's an indoor thing.
Yeah. But
very endearing. Another gold medal winner who's really endeared themselves to viewers is Mondo Duplantis. He's the Swedish pole vaulter who broke the world record.
Yeah, I saw this. So I was watching the pole vaulting and you know, he kept on, you know, obviously they go up in increments, and he then broke the world record. I was like, yeah, come on, like just keep going. Like you're clearly on a bit of a hot streak. And then the commentator explained that he probably has some kind of deal with his shoe company that every time he breaks the world record, he'll get a bonus or whatever. So he's just been doing it every tournament, going up by like 1 centimetre.
Has he now got like all the like top 5 records?
Don't know. I think it was his own world record that he just broke.
Right,
so
yeah. He's an absolute looker as well. He's stunner. And people are really loving him as well. Did you see he then went on Swedish TV the morning after, looking and sounding so hungover?
Alla de som är närmast till mig, de är här på plats och ja.
Magiskt.
Nej, men det make ingen sense.
Det känns nästan lite tagen fortfarande.
Ja, och nej men sjukt alltså. Sjukt.
Am I making any sense? The athletes have been like particularly endearing this year, or is that just always the way?
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's just they're all just quite normal, which is very nice. It's quite refreshing after watching most major sporting events.
Yeah, like I'm sure that is some media training, but in the interviews they seem way less coached. Like they just answer like normal people. You know, even someone like Keely Hodgkinson, for example, like she just talks like a normal, down-to-earth person.
Yeah, I saw a great one of some Irish athletes who I'm not sure if it was this Olympics or the last one. I actually want to play the clip because it's perfect.
I've been shook enough now, to be honest, since the racing. A bit tired now and the legs are like jelly, but yeah, I suppose we did a bit of celebrating and did the podium thing and got to put on the podium pants as well, so that was quite nice. And saw the mother and the father and a few other people and took a few pictures and that. And then I had to go and do this doping control thing, so I was there for an hour or two trying to take a pee then into a cup for them. So after about 10 litres water as well, so it's full up now, to be honest.
just talking like normal people. Yeah, I love it.
So we just had to go piss in a cup. And I want to be able to celebrate. But
love it. Now, bit of an update on last week's story. We were heavily tipping Jamaica's football team to appoint Steve Bruce as manager, which was leading to some lovely mental images of him wandering around the island
in a string vest.
Yeah, in a string vest, looking very hot. But in fact, Jamaica have gone for a different Steve. Maybe an even funnier one, actually.
Yeah, I was going to say, it was difficult to pick a funnier manager than Steve Bruce to manage Jamaica, but I think they managed it.
Yeah, they have appointed Steve McLaren, former England manager, former Middlesbrough manager, former FC Twente manager, which is relevant because I think we're all hoping that Steve doesn't do a repeat of his trick when he took over FC Twente and adopted the local accent for his first press conference. You probably remember it, but let's watch the clip.
This must be very special for you personally.
Yeah, of course. It's one of the reasons I came, because a good team and they qualified Champions League. So it's one of the reasons I came, to draw Arsenal, one of the big teams. Is exciting for everybody.
Wait, was he being interviewed by Femke Schippers there?
What, the Mickey Mouse voiced runner?
Or is that just what all Dutch women sound like?
I don't think they do. Yeah, there's another interview with him, a press conference where he goes, it is what I call a clean sheet. like he's just coined the phrase clean sheet.
Oh, you say clean sheet.
Massive underdogs. Anyway, we are really hoping Steve doesn't pull the same trick when he's in Kingston, Jamaica doing his first press conference. Although it would be very funny to watch.
Just walking like, wagwan.
Now, speaking of unusual appointments, did you know that former Celtic gaffer Neil Lennon is now in charge at Rapid Bucharest, the Romanian Giants?
I did. That was a bit of a rogue move, but I like it.
Yeah, pretty rogue move. I mean, he's actually a pretty good manager. He did quite well at Celtic. He's considered quite controversial there, but I was looking at his record. He had a 70% win rate, which seems quite good.
Wasn't that when Rangers were in the second division, though?
Yeah, and he did.
If you have anything less than 70% when you're Celtic manager, then
without Rangers, yeah, fair point. But I mean, anyway, Bucharest, it's one of Europe's great cities. It's got sort of stunning Eastern Orthodox churches, some fascinating communist buildings. It's a gateway to the stunning nearby mountain ranges. Although in recent years, Bucharest has, of course, become a bit of a stag do mecca, as you well know, Zach, from your frequent trips out there.
Oh, yeah.
You are one of thousands of horrible blokes who buy package deals where the stag is handcuffed to a stripper at baggage reclaim and then you're fed watered-down raki by your zorbing instructor. That seems to be the sort of vibe there.
Can confirm.
And it sounds a bit like Neil might have slipped into stag mode himself. So he's been there since May, and the Romanian season has started. It's not pre-season. They've played 4 matches, Dinamo Bucharest. But according to local reports, Neil turned up to training last week hanging out of his arse after a midweek piss-up at a brewery. And he then proceeded to pull out his knob and urinate on the training pitch in front of his horrified squad.
This is midweek.
Yeah, so according to the local press, he and his assistant coaches just went to a brewery and got pissed and then arrived really hungover. And yeah, actually, so apparently he urinated on the pitch, but the term used in the article I read was actually defecate.
Oh, wow.
But I think that was a Google Translate error. I really hope it was.
Yeah.
I think it must
So that was after he tried the local sausages.
Yeah, I'm fairly sure that was just a mistranslation. But yeah, bit of a rogue turn.
Yeah.
And apparently everyone's quite horrified. Sounds like Dinamo Bucharest are in a bit of a wild phase. Like their CEO has just gone on some long holiday at the start of the season, just isn't there. And meanwhile, Neil Lennon's just...
They appointed him and they were thinking like fairly big name manager, going to come in, give the players a bit of a kick up the backside.
Yeah.
But
he's like, right, lads, we're going go-karting.
Yeah.
And then to this horrible nightclub I found. And then a strip club. Actually, speaking of celebrations, did you see Phil Foden? He held a birthday party for one of his kids and the neighbours called 999 because the music was so loud. Wow. Apparently it was out of control. The neighbours said they said it was louder than Glastonbury and they said he was blaring gangster rap till midnight. Although then actually I looked into the details and the songs that they named were Snoop Dogg's Drop It Like It's Hot and a hit from Queen Latifah which that's not gangster rap.
Yeah, I think the neighbourhood that Phil Foden lives in probably
They consider that
too,
gangster rap. Yeah, that's not gangster rap. The description was that they were blasting those songs from a PA system as kids screamed and Foden's Doberman guard dog barked, which is like...
Sounds like a party at Pablo Escobar's
Yeah, or
house.
like DMX's house. Doberman dog just salivating on like a spiked collar. Yeah, but anyway, apparently they called 999. It was going on till midnight, which quite late if it's really loud.
For a kid's party.
Yeah, normally it's like magicians and bubble machines for like 2
Bouncy
hours.
Castle in the garden.
A bit of cake and then everyone goes home. So yeah, I think this has been a bit of a running theme that Phil has quite Larry parties.
Yeah, he's young, really, isn't he?
Yeah, and he's his mother's son. He likes a party, as we well know.
While we're on the subject, I've got another story of drunken mishaps for you. So did you hear what happened to the refs for the Rangers against Dynamo Kiev match? So they played each other in Lubin on Poland on Tuesday night. It finished 1-1, but preparations for the game were thrown into disarray when the VAR team were arrested the night before the match after getting battered, presumably on Polish vodka, and stealing a road sign. So apparently, like, police patrols found them wandering down a street at 2 a.m. carrying these signs, which is just such a classic scene. Like, I'm picturing one of them with a traffic cone on his head. Hopefully with their refs' whistles as well, blowing them,
and then they're
dancing around. Yeah.
It's a real teenage drunken stunt
Yeah,
to
it
nick a
really
road
is.
sign.
Yeah. So this is a quote from a Polish news source on the day of the match. Both referees are now in a sobering up centre, and the police will soon charge them with defacing road infrastructure.
Was the sobering up centre like just a jail cell? Drunk
tank, I think.
Yeah, that's basically just the slammer, isn't it?
Yeah. They didn't make the match though, so they had to get new VAR officials. I like to think that they were still in the police station arguing over the CCTV images, being like, all right, rewind here, freeze the frame, and you can see that there is no actual contact between my hands and the road sign. So if you rewind the clip here, and you can see that in an earlier phase of play, I was actually on a motorway bridge mooning passing cars, so I could not have been on the scene for this crime.
It is the last blokes you'd expect to be committing crimes.
Yeah. Not only referees, but the VAR, the most killjoy ones of all.
So was that no VAR for the game, or did they just?
I think they got somebody else in. It was actually a really high-profile Polish ref that was part of this drunken rampage. He's like one of the top referees in Poland.
So this is like Andre Mariner.
Yeah, exactly.
Or Dre, as he's apparently known.
Yeah.
Yeah, love it. Also, that game was a thriller, wasn't it? Rangers scored like a last-minute equaliser.
Yeah, it was 1-1. How are we stretching the definition of a thriller? 1-1 in the Conference League qualifier. Is it Conference League or Europa League? Is it Champions League? Oh, okay.
I think for a European preliminary qualifier,
it goes down as a thriller.
It had a late equaliser.
Off-field drama.
Yeah, exactly. Wouldn't want to call on the VAR team to judge the last-minute equaliser.
So it's probably in.
Yeah, it's probably in. Fuck it. I've actually got more rowdy polls for you, Zach, because elsewhere in Europe's qualifiers, the Welsh side Canavan drew Legia Warsaw for a Conference League qualifier. And, Canavan probably a little bit nervous. First of all, Legia Warsaw are a proper big team. They're going to be pretty good. And also the locals in the stunning medieval town of Canavan were probably a little bit nervous about the fate of their homes in their town, because Legia Warsaw Ultras have a bit of a reputation. So you actually might remember last season, 46 of them were arrested in Birmingham ahead of their game against Aston Villa when they got involved in some seriously quite frightening scenes, actually. One of the policemen on the scene described it as the worst violence I've experienced in 28 years. And they set a policeman on fire with a flare.
Fire?
Yeah, fortunately he was okay. Apparently he just pulled his jacket was quite flammable, apparently.
Okay.
Apparently he just ripped it off and he was all right. But it was nuts.
Pretty...
And as a result, Legia fans were banned from attending away matches for this season. So you'd think then that, Canavan fans, when they learned this news, were probably like, oh, okay, we're going to be fine. We're safe from rioting in the stands. Our famous medieval castle is safe from losing its UNESCO World Heritage status. Unfortunately, though, the Ultras found a bit of a loophole because the Welsh Premier League side's ground is overlooked by the delightful Canavan Bay Caravan Park. And so 2,000 Ultras descended on the town and simply set up camp in the caravan park and watched the game from there.
Well, slightly different vibe from what they're used to in the caravan park there.
Yeah, what the usual like kids pottering back in their jelly shoes with a bucket full of crabs. Suddenly you just hear on the wind the sound of these terrifying Ultras chanting.
Yeah, just the waft of like smoke bombs going off.
Yeah, and those flares,
someone in a 1970s deck chair reading the Daily Mail and then just swamped by red smoke.
And as we know, those flares are pretty flammable.
Yeah.
And actually, one more Eastern European story for you. We're doing very well out of Eastern Europe today. I need to draw listeners' attention to an incredible lookalike. It's a Jurgen Klopp lookalike. It's a Kloppelganger. This guy looks so much like Jurgen Klopp, you don't even need a side-by-side. He is the Shakhtar Donetsk physio, and my God, he looks like Klopp.
I think it's one of the best lookalikes I've ever seen.
Yeah.
It's uncanny.
I mean,
if he was wearing a Liverpool jacket, you would think it.
But the beard is the same shade and texture. The glasses are the same style. The hair's the same style and colour.
Surely he's doing this on purpose.
Yeah, I think he must be like a bit of a Klopp fan.
Yeah.
And he's kind of cultivating a look.
Yeah. It's like, as I tell you, I saw at the England semi-final, I saw that Gareth Southgate lookalike posing for pictures with people. And he was wearing Gareth's quarter zip.
Oh, so he graduated from the waistcoat?
Yeah. No, I think every tournament he takes on whatever Gareth Southgate's look is.
He doesn't actually look that much like a lot of lookalikes. He doesn't look that much like him.
Yeah. I mean, I think he's obviously cultivated it. He goes for the same outfit, the same.
It's annoying for him that there was a policeman at that game who looked more like Gareth Southgate than him.
Yeah.
But this Klopp guy, he must be like a big.
He could make money doing appearances.
Yeah, actually, I saw someone in our Instagram comments asking if we are deliberately trying to look like, the hippies in Lockstock, the posh hippies who are growing weed. And I'd just like to clear this one up. I'm not trying to look like those guys. The guys who are like, chill, Winston. They're like public school boys growing weed. Absolute plonkers.
That is great. Yeah, they've cracked us. That is what we're running ourselves on.
Yeah, good to be compared. Whereas this Klopp looked like the Kloppelganger is definitely going for it. Actually, Shakhtar Donetsk took the unusual step of releasing a club statement saying, "No, it's not Jurgen Klopp. This is our rehab therapist, Igor Grishkovich." Apologies to Igor for butchering his name there. But yeah, it's
I know that they had to step in for that. I mean, maybe the Shakhtar fans were hoping that this was Jurgen Klopp's plan all along, that he'd slip under the radar and re-emerge, following his true passion of
rehab, cryo chambers and massages.
Yeah. Well, good luck to him.
Yeah.
So one of the great things about the Olympics, I think, is that there's this real sense of jeopardy that you don't really get at other major events. Like, there's these really unusual sports that are contested by actually pretty ordinary people who just sacrifice everything for their one shot at glory. And, for every Simone Biles and Keely Hodgkinson with their huge Adidas contracts, you've got hundreds of unfortunate souls for whom defeat means returning to the terrifying reality of their normal lives. But for South Korean athletes, there's something far more sinister at stake. So Koreans who take home an Olympic medal are exempt from the mandatory military service, 21-month military service that all Korean men have to do before they're 35. So it means for them, the margins between victory and defeat mean either returning home as a national hero or being dispatched to the demilitarized zone to be shot at with 1970s rifles while balloons filled with human shit rain down on you.
Because the North Koreans actually do that, don't they? They fly balloons of sewage onto the DMZ.
Yeah. It's a very strange thing to do, really. I heard that the South Koreans respond to that by blasting K-pop at the border. Which, if you look at those two things side by side, it's not really sort of highlighting the pinnacle of your culture.
Yeah. Well, in a way, they're sort of returning the favour of pumping human waste back over the border. Just continuing the tradition. Okay, so the stakes are high for Korean athletes.
And that was the prospect that was facing Korean golfer Tom Kim as he walked out for his final round in Paris this week. So he was actually trailing going into this final round, but he started really well on the first few holes. And at one stage, it really looked like he had a chance of getting a medal and getting out of military service until he double bogeyed on the 18th hole and ended up finishing 8th. So there was a video of him crying, like weeping in the scoring hut at the end of the round, which, you know, I know not a lot of athletes do that, but for him it must have had this extra layer of foreboding.
Yeah. Surely as he was lining up that part on the 18th, it ran through his head. Like
Kim Jong-un's face just flashes up.
Just like, they have got nuclear weapons as well, haven't they? Wonder what sort of state those warheads are in.
Yeah. I don't know, I wouldn't bet on them. It's not all bad for Kim though. He's only 22, so he's got a few more shots of getting out of it. Unlike 34-year-old breakdancer Bboy Wing, who's completing over the weekend. And, you know, for Kim, if he fucks it up, then he can look forward to the next year and a half of eating dehydrated kimchi out of a sachet while ballistic missiles rain down around him on the Sea of Japan.
Shit, so he's pretty lucky that breakdancing got into the Olympics just before his 35th birthday. Has he got a good chance?
I think he's pretty good. He's sort of one of the veterans of breaking.
I guess do we really know who the favourites are? I mean, they have competition.
Got a clue.
Yeah.
I just like that they all go by their B-boy names.
Bboy Wing. They're not going to be calling that in the army, are they? Private Wing.
Yeah.
B-boy. I'm not calling you B-boy.
I also saw you can get military exemptions for e-gaming.
Oh, really? Well, it's borderline the national sport.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, there was a guy who got gold at the League of Legends World Championship last year and got out of it.
Well, that's it. He's not doing military service.
Yeah. Which is, I'd love to see him coming home to his mum, be like, I told you, mum, all these 20 hours a day I spent locked in my bedroom eating Doritos and energy drinks, farting.
Not washing.
Yeah.
That week I did without sleep or using deodorant.
Has saved my life.
Yeah, so it turns out shooting people in a game actually can prevent you from having to.
Yeah, that was another thing I was thinking, actually, that they're exempting all of their best athletes from military service when actually, surely those are the guys you really want up on the front line, especially like the shooters. Imagine if they get a gold medal in shooting and then he's just like, all right, see you later, guys.
So, but just to clarify, if there is a war, you will come back, yeah?
But even like runners, jumpers.
Yeah, because Son Heung-min got...
he got out of it, yeah.
Yeah, because he won a medal at the Asian Games. I think that qualifies you as well. Don't know how could he be in a war. He seems like quite a gentle soul.
Yeah.
No disrespect to him, he's lovely. But yeah, you'd probably want the guys in the shooting, even like the horse riders.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Archery as well, if it gets a bit...
Golfer, yeah. Doesn't sound like his aim's that good after that double bogey. you can have an exemption.
Yeah.
Fucking hell, you know how the Tories were going to do national service? Would this have been an exemption? Because like Dina Asher-Smith missed out on a medal by 0.02 seconds a couple of days ago.
So she'd be.
That's it. You're going to war.
Yeah.
Off you go to fight the Russians. Sorry, Dina.
Province. Yeah.
Pretty glad that national service isn't happening.
Yeah.
Although I'm 35, so I'm safe. Yeah, enjoy your war. And I'm a League of Legends champion.
True. Actually, speaking of immense sacrifice for your nation, do you see the Australian hockey player who had part of his finger amputated so he could take part in the Olympics? So he injured his finger really badly in practice a few weeks, I think like 2 weeks before the Olympics. It was like quite badly severed, and went to the doctor and they were like, yeah, I mean, we can sew it up, we can give you surgery, but it's going to take a few months before it recovers, or we can just chop the whole thing off and you can go to the Olympics. And this is a quote from him: "We all make sacrifices and choices. This is the choice I made to perform at the Olympics."
Fucking hell.
Which, you know, he'd be a real national hero if they came back with gold. But I'm sorry to report they just got knocked out in the quarters.
Oh, God. So no medal.
No medal and no finger.
That's what they call the worst of both worlds. God, do you think he's regretting the choice? Or do you think he was just like, I went?
I think he's 32 or something, I think. So I think his thinking was, this is my last Olympics.
Right.
You know.
Exempt that guy from military service, if Australia have it, which I doubt.
Can you operate a rifle?
Sorry, exempt him anyway, it's
yeah.
useless. Which finger was it, do you know?
It was his ring finger on his right hand, so the fourth finger.
Yeah,
So-
I mean, do you need that? That is where
It's
a
probably
wedding ring
if
goes,
you-
isn't it?
Well, it's on the left hand.
Okay. I was thinking his wife's like, oh, right. Yeah, I won't need that fucking finger.
Yeah, I mean, if you had to lose one, then that's probably it.
Really, you're going for ring finger, not pinky. Surely it's pinky. Almost want to throw this out to listeners. Like, what would you amputate in order to participate in the Olympics? How far would you go?
Would you rather?
Yeah, it is quite.
Yeah.
Would you rather?
Foot, hand.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. How are you saying? How far would you go to take part in the Olympics?
Yeah.
I wish that. I mean, that pole vaulter is probably wishing that he'd
Who's a knob?
the one whose the one whose knob got caught on the.
Yeah. So Anthony Amirati missed out on the pole vault final because he clipped the bar with his cock. Didn't he? I mean,
Yeah.
he's literally cleared the bar. And this was to get into the final. It was 5.75 meters, I think. He cleared the bar, and then as he was passing it, his massive knob just knocked the fucking bar off. But did you see now he's being offered a porn contract because his big knob has caught the attention of some like grubby webcam site. I think they're mainly doing it for publicity, but the site owner of this webcam site said, as a lover of crotch-centric activities, I'd love to offer you up to $250,000 in exchange for a 60-minute webcam show in which you show off your goods, minus the crossbar, of course. I think the key wording in that is up to 250 grand.
Could be 250 grand, could be 20 quid.
Could be nothing, just depending on what donations we get during the video. Also, 60 minutes is a long time to remain turgid, perform. Like,
yeah, because I don't know. Once you've sort of revealed, then what are you doing for the rest of the other 59 minutes? Just
I mean, I've got a few ideas.
Windmilling.
Yeah, exactly. I presume he's going to ask him to. That's probably where the up to bit is. The sort of like tiered contract. You know, like those football transfer deals. It's like, well, if he wins a Champions League medal, we'll pay more. Yeah, it's like that. But yeah, I dread to think what gets you to the 250k level. Amid all the talk of this guy knocking over the bar with his knob, I really enjoyed Serena Williams' coach chipped in online and said, call a drag queen, she'll teach you how to tuck it. And it's actually a pretty good point. It's like elite sport is about tiny margins, and had he not had his knob in the way, he would have been an Olympic finalist, and then who knows what, he might have won gold. Like, maybe that is an optimization that pole vaulters should make.
You'd have thought they would have thought of this.
Yeah,
really.
but I think that like professional sport is, it's 1% gains.
Yeah.
And I'd say his knob is more than 1% of his body mass, having watched the video. I feel like they should tuck.
Yeah. Though, did you see another clip of a sprinter, American sprinter, I think, who was putting on his skin tight sprinting suit thing, and underneath was just wearing these really baggy boxer shorts, which just didn't seem like
yeah. Sorry, I mean drag is in dragging you in the wind. Yeah, it's like you expect like
thought they'd be wearing
super aerodynamic
speedos. Yeah,
so you're saying you're disappointed by his boxers?
No, I'm impressed.
Were they sort of like baggy, like sort of like Bart Simpson with an open fly, like what your mum would buy you from M&S kind of thing? Yeah, that's not what I expect of an elite athlete. Yeah. How did he perform?
I don't know.
Didn't beat Noah Lyles.
No.
Maybe that's why. Given that Noah Lyles won by a hair's breadth.
Yeah, every little helps, doesn't it? I was actually thinking the same watching some of the sprinters, some of the female sprinters with really long hair. Like I'm not sure who was in the final, but Shelly-Ann Fraser-Price has hair like down to her arse basically,
and her nails are really long as well.
Yeah, and I was thinking like surely that hair must weigh a lot.
Yeah,
and when you're dealing in like thousandths of a second, then
And again, like the jewelry, I always say it, like tennis, I think we've talked about this before, like quite often they have like big hoop earrings and stuff, or like necklaces, and it's quite like distracting. But yes, like with the running, surely it matters.
Yeah, I'd have thought so.
But the guy who won the 1500 metres on Tuesday night, he had long hair.
Yeah.
True. So, don't know.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, we're talking about
probably leave it to people who know anything about this topic, but let us know if we've got that wrong.
Actually, we were talking about athletes with big contracts. Do you see Italian gymnast Giorgia Via was sponsored by Parmesan Cheese?
Just buy cheese.
Yeah, you've probably seen these photos of her doing like cartwheels over these gigantic wheels of cheese, and there's one of her cradling it in her arms. And you might be wondering how someone could be sponsored by Parmesan Cheese. It's actually the Parmigiano Reggiano Consortium of cheesemakers who sponsor her, or as I like to call them, Big Parma.
She's in their pockets.
She's in their pockets.
Yeah.
And actually,
she's a stooge for Big Parma.
Their sports washing agenda. She also ensnared in their tentacles is Italian world tennis number 1 Yannick Sinner.
Oh wow! Okay, that's quite a big name to be.
Yeah, it really
big
is.
Cheese. Yeah, Big Parma.
Big Parma.
He is a big cheese.
Yeah.
Wow. So I guess, to be fair, wasn't the League Cup in the late 80s? It was called the Milk Cup, and that was just the milk lobby.
Big milk.
Yeah, it was just like the milk lobby, just being like, drink fucking milk, guys, please. Yeah. It's good for you.
I guess it's these things that are just traded like commodities, right? It's in the same way that like grain is exported as just grain.
Yeah, but I guess also with Parmesan,
cheese.
like cheese is quite competitive now. You go to the supermarket and like, I wouldn't always put Parmesan on my pasta.
Well, now having seen how much Giorgia Via and Yannick Sinner.
Yeah, now I've seen someone ride a pommel horse with a wheel of Parmesan in their hands.
Yeah.
It is kind of making me want some Parmesan.
This is what Big Parma wants.
Yeah.
All right, going from that, I've got an even weirder story for you. So you have to bear with me. There's a bit tangential here, but you must have seen Kamala Harris announced her presidential running mate this week, a guy called Tim Walz, and the two of them, they're up against Trump, obviously, but also standing as an independent is Robert F. Kennedy, the nephew of JFK, and Robert's he's a pretty weird bloke. So he's come out with some quite wacky things in this campaign. He compared COVID vaccinations to the Holocaust. Also accused the US government of developing ethnically targeted bioweapons.
He's mental.
He's mental. His running mate is a Silicon Valley lawyer, which is a bit disappointing because it was rumored for a while that he was going to pick New York Jets quarterback Aaron Rodgers as his running mate.
He's a Fruit Loop as well about COVID, isn't he?
He has some COVID conspiracy theories. He also suggested that 9/11 and Sandy Hook were an inside job.
Oh, right.
So yeah, he's also bonkers.
Is that not what that Alex Jones guy got sued for, like $1 billion?
Yeah,
for?
I don't know how.
That's mental.
Anyway, this Aaron Rodgers guy he's still playing high level NFL, so would have been interesting to see him combine that with life on the campaign trail.
Or like quick stump speech in Minnesota and then onto the game.
Yeah. But yeah, sadly we're not going to see that happen. He's got a Silicon Valley lawyer instead. But I was looking into RFK a bit and their family history, which is absolutely mental. You've got like affairs, scandals, assassinations. It's basically like a Greek tragedy, their whole family.
JFK and his brother, who's also called Robert Kennedy.
Yeah, so
who must be, is he the grandfather of this guy?
He's the dad of this guy.
Oh, fucking hell.
Yeah, so it's all...
They were both shot.
They were both shot.
They were very level-headed liberals.
Yeah.
If you believe, the conspiracy constructed by Big Parma.
Yeah. It's actually the Parmigiano Reggiano Consortium who are on the grassy knoll.
That's what Grana Padano want you to think.
Yeah, it's all coming out now. Did you know that RFK Jr.'s brother Michael was killed in 1997 after crashing into a tree while playing American football on skis?
Sorry, I shouldn't laugh.
No.
Someone did die, but that is a ludicrous.
It is, yeah.
So is that one of the mad Kennedy deaths then? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's probably the maddest.
It's
playing American football on skis.
Whose idea was this?
Can any American listeners tell us, is that like a known pastime?
Not anymore, I think.
Is that, do you have to be like the scion of a millionaire, powerful political dynasty to play that game?
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
As ways to go.
Do you think that's among the things that has made RFK quite so mental?
Possibly, yeah. I mean,
Hang on, what's the brainworms thing? Wasn't there a thing earlier in this year?
yeah, he came out and said that about 10 years ago he had got this weird, extremely rare brainworm that had somehow like got up his nose and was eating his brain from the inside.
Which explains a lot.
Yeah.
Sounds like maybe he's been at my festival in Poland. Or in the Seine.
Yeah.
Do a triathlon in Paris at any point.
There was actually another scandal to hit his campaign this week. So he admitted that in 2014 he dumped a dead bear cub in Central Park in New York. It's just a mad story. So at the time, back in 2014, this was a big story in the American press. It was like, how the hell did this black bear cub end up in Central Park? Yeah. And RFK has now revealed that it was him. So what happened is he was driving upstate from New York somewhere, and a car in front of him hit this bear cub, and he stopped and decided, he was chatting to the driver and decided that he would take this bear home to skin it and eat it, as you do.
Right.
He then had a dinner reservation with friends, so he was like, "I'll just put the bear in the back of the van and we'll sort it out later." Ended up running out of time and he had to get to the airport. So he was with his friends from this dinner who were apparently quite drunk. He says he wasn't drunk, but they cooked up the idea to stage a bike accident in Central Park and dump the bear cub there as if it had been hit by a bike. So they did. They like broke into the park at night and dumped this bear cub next to a mangled bicycle. And the following morning, a dog walker found it and obviously like called the police, and it was this huge story in the US
and
media.
they just expected everyone to believe that bear cubs were roaming Central Park.
Yeah, I think he was like, yeah, it was, people would just find it funny.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen some weird shit in that park, but bear cubs.
Yeah. Yeah, so...
is it possible that he sustained his brainworms from eating
handling.
roadkill, like maggot-infested bear carcasses?
Could be, yeah, that would make sense.
What's his get? Why is this a strategy to reveal, to like admit to this stuff?
Yeah, so I think he
Just
discovered that the New Yorker magazine had got hold of this story. Maybe one of his mates that he was with had told them about it, and they were planning to run the story.
Right.
So he was sort of like, okay, I'll get ahead of the game and tell my side of the story.
I thought it might be a bit like, Ed Davey, the Lib Dem strategy was just like do attention-seeking stunts, just so people are aware of your name. But I mean, he went like skydiving and roller coasters, not like murdering bears upstate.
You say that this was he was playing the long game since 2014.
Well, I just think maybe he is claiming responsibility for the bear cub, even though it wasn't him, as a sort of strategy of attention seeking and the kind of like all publicity's good.
I think you've been spending too much time around Big Parma.
Yeah. I mean, it is the maddest American election ever already.
Yeah.
So a bit of sport in that story.
There was some sporting tangents.
Kind of a bit like that Iditarod story we did about the guy like killing a reindeer. I guess that was a sport.
Yeah, he killed and skinned a moose, right?
Yeah. And it was just nice to end on something that's vaguely sport related and very weird.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot for that. I think that's all we got time for. Thanks a lot, Zach.
Thank you.
And thanks for listening.